Hello learners. Today in this program we shall discuss the benefits of instructional design. I am Shutapa Bose. I teach at the School of Education, Indira Gandhi National Open University, and I welcome you to this program. Let us discuss and try to understand that why we should carry out instructional designing. What would be the benefits? Well, what are the things that we would be discussing today? First of all, what are the benefits of instructional designing for teaching and learning? This would be a general discussion, following which we would come to the specifics. What would be the benefits for teachers? How would they gain from instructional designing? How would instructional designing benefit learners? And what would be the benefits of instructional designing for educational administrators? These are the points which would be the focal points of discussion during this program. Coming to the first point, benefits of instructional designing for teaching and learning. Before we begin the discussion, I would like to tell you that instructions and teaching are synonymous. Nevertheless, when teaching is a planned activity, we say that the term teaching becomes instructions and designing means planning. Therefore, when we plan teaching in terms of goals of teaching, what would be the objectives of teaching, what would be the learning experiences that we would select for attaining the goals that we have articulated at the beginning, and what would be the sequence of the content. In other words, how would we organize the content in order to teach so that we may attain the goals, and how would we know that our learners have indeed learnt what we have taught, and therefore we also include planning for assessment and feedback so that learners can match the outcomes of their learning with the feedback that we include for them. This is how we plan instructions. Since in this program we shall deliberate on the benefits of instructional designing, therefore I have just presented very briefly about the process of instructional designing in order to differentiate it from teaching. Now coming back to today's point of discussion, which is benefits of instructional designing. How does it help teaching and learning processes? Well, first of all, since the first step of instructional designing is setting goals, the process of instructional designing begins with articulation, clear statement of objectives. Goals and objectives, of course, are not the same. Goal is somewhat broader. Nevertheless, at the beginning, let us forget about the difference for a while. We shall come back to it later on. We begin with instructional goals. For example, what would be the goal of this session, the goal of this discussion, the ongoing discussion? Well, the goal would be, the instructional goal would be that after watching the video, you would be in a position to state the benefits of carrying out the process of instructional designing. Therefore, when we design instructions, we are very clear about the goals. And this answers the why question, that why are we teaching? Why do we teach in a classroom? Or why are we going to teach during an online situation? This is because the teaching is carried out in order to attain certain goals. And when we carry out instructional designing, the goal becomes very clear. This helps to keep teaching and learning on track. The teachers as well as learners, they do not lose focus of what they are supposed to be teaching and learning respectively. The teacher knows what to teach. The learner knows what she is supposed to be learning. This is the benefit of setting goals. This is how it helps teaching and learning process in general. Why do we set goals? Well, we set goals, number one, as I have said, that it keeps the activity, the process on track. We don't lose focus. Is there any other advantage? Yes, there is. Teaching and learning become accessible. Following teaching, we can make out whether our learners have indeed learned. How do we make it out? We engage learners maybe in activities, maybe in some assessment exercise, and if they are in a position to, or if they demonstrate the learning outcomes or the attainments that we expect from them, in that case we feel that, well, our goals have been attained. So this is how learners come to know that they have met the goals of learning, and teachers also come to know that the goals of instructions have been attained. And this is the reason why when you see the self-learning material in print medium, text-based self-learning material which is developed by IGNOU, you will find that interspersed in the content are activities, quizzes, exercises for assessment, and towards the end of the unit there is feedback. Why do we include it? And at the beginning of the unit there are instructional objectives. We begin with instructional objectives, we come to assessment, and at the end there is feedback. The feedback tells the learner whether the instructional goals have been attained, and the feedback thus helps in ascertaining the attainment of goals. And through the process of assessment, maybe in a classroom situation, if you are teaching in a classroom situation, you would come to know whether the goals of imparting instructions have been attained. Therefore, we say that teaching and learning become accessible. And then teaching and learning become systematic. What does it mean, teaching and learning becoming systematic? Well, you begin with setting goals. You select instructional or learning or teaching experiences, whatever you say, which would help the learners to attain the goals that have been set for them. You do not select instructional experiences haphazardly, but you do that keeping in view the goals that have been set. Therefore, this is a step towards being systematic. The assessment is also in view of the goals that have been set. All these steps are taken so that the inputs that go into the system of teaching and learning, if we consider teaching and learning to be a system, the inputs provided by the teacher, it may be instructional, it may be teaching learning experiences, it could be the selection of technology, it could be the selection of teaching aids. Everything can be reviewed vis-a-vis the goals, and the selection of these elements is done in a systematic manner. Therefore, we say that benefits of carrying out the process of instructional designing for teaching and learning in general are that it becomes a goal-oriented process. Second, it makes both these processes, teaching and learning, accessible. And third, it makes the entire process systematic. It keeps us on track. We do not deviate from what we are supposed to be doing. It is a goal-directed process. This was a general benefit of carrying out instructional designing. Now coming to more specific benefits. How do learners gain from the process of instructional designing? What are the benefits for my learners? As I said, that when we plan goals, not only teaching but learning is also on track. Learners will stay focused if they are going to learn about instructional designing or about how to develop self-learning material or maybe about the digestive system. They would learn only that. They would not be distracted by other things. Their learning would remain focused. Moreover, they would know in advance what would be taught to them. For example, when you visit IGNOU's website and you go to a particular school, you visit the website of a particular school, and after that, when you scroll down the list of programs and come to a program of your choice, you will find a lot of information about that program, including an overview of the curriculum, the outline of the content that would be taught. Well, IGNOU is in a position to place this kind of information on its website. That is because there is meticulous instructional designing. Therefore, as a learner, you would come to know that what would be taught, and in advance you come to know about this. So this would influence your decision to join a program, to enroll in a course, and then you also can reflect on that why would you enroll in that course? What would be the benefits? That is because you get the information, which is the outcome of meticulous instructional designing carried out for that program. And this kind of information also rouses your interest. It creates interest. You become curious to learn, and then you get ready to learn. You are aware of the content that you would be learning. You are aware of the instructional objectives. All this information are provided. Maybe you would think of joining a short preparatory course. For example, you may join a course for learning about learning analytics or about instructional design before you decide to enroll in a course on online teaching. This development of readiness is also because instructional designing has been carried out and the learning experiences that would be provided vis-a-vis the instructional goals have been articulated. This is how instructional designing helps the learners. And then the knowledge you gain about the demands of a course. Naturally, this helps you to prepare for the course. There is a mental preparation. For example, whether the course objectives are aligned to your goals. That you would come to know, supposing you want to learn how to teach online and you find that the instructional objectives of the course being offered by an institution are not quite about how to teach online. You may decide not to join, whereas for some other institution, if you find that the instructional goals are aligned to your goals of learning, you may decide to join. This is how instructional designing helps learners. And then what would be the workload? How many assignments would be there? What would be the nature of assignments? What would be the level of complexity of the course? Whether or not a learner is ready for addressing the kind of complexity which is there in the course. And if there is any special requirement, for example, if you want to join a course for learning financial management, maybe the institution would require or the course may require some kind of knowledge of mathematics. If there is a course which is being offered for teaching history of a particular aspect, you as a learner may be required to have the readiness for learning it. This is how learners can decide whether or not they would be benefited from the course, number one, whether or not they are ready to join the course. Learners would also come to know about the assessment system, the mechanisms for assessing learning. For example, how and when learning will be assessed, whether there would be term and examination, what would be the frequency of assessment, whether there is a project, what sort of project is it, what would be the number of assignments learners are expected to submit. That is why I said that instructional designing makes teaching and learning systematic. That's because you see that all these elements have been planned in advance and planned to an extent and planned so meticulously that it has been possible for IGNOU to publish all this information on its website, make it public. And this is how learners benefit. When they know about the demands of the course, they know about its objectives, they know what they are going to learn, what they would be taught, and how their learning would be assessed. All these things would help the learners in developing a readiness for the program and also in deciding whether or not they should join a particular program. Therefore, it's quite justified to say that instructional designing is beneficial for learners. And sometimes if there is a face-to-face component even in a distance education program like a lab work, how would the distance education institution organize it? What would be the venue? Whether it would be face-to-face or it would be simulated? Where would the projects be submitted? Who would be the guide for dissertation, or is the project going to be an unguided activity with built-in guide in the project manual? And then how the program would be delivered, whether it would be delivered through print medium or a multiple media approach using a variety of media like audio, video, print. Every information is provided in advance to the learner, thereby benefiting the learner only because instructional designing has been carried out. We may conclude that instructional designing is of great help to the learners. It also helps the institution. How? How does it help the institution? For example, if technology is to be used, a video has to be developed or an audio program has to be developed, CDs have to be made and distributed, or an LMS has to be procured, or this is at a very general level, at the institutional level, coming down to the level of classrooms. Whether a teacher has to prepare slides in advance, whether whiteboards would be there, whether she has to use emails for communication, until and unless there is an instructional designing, the use of technology, the kind of technology required and how it would be used, all these things can be planned in advance only if we have an instructional design in place. This was about the benefits of instructional designing for learners, for the institution in general. Now coming to the benefits of instructional designing for teachers. How are teachers benefited? The teachers know beforehand the goals of teaching, and they also have an understanding about the profile of learners whom they would be teaching, their readiness level, the medium of instructions. Some may be comfortable learning in English, some in Hindi, some in their regional language. So what should be the medium of instructions? All these things the teacher can plan in advance. And then knowing how concepts will be taught. For example, whether lab work is required, projects would be required, discussions, debates would be required for teaching a particular topic, she can bring in these elements into her instructional designing and know in advance that, well, these are the things that she would be required to plan. And then what would be the delivery mechanisms, whether she has to develop the content for online delivery using text-based medium or video or audio, or she has to teach face-to-face. Since requirements of different media are varied, therefore, knowing in advance the delivery mechanisms would help the teacher in delivering the content subsequently. She can also plan the technology used in education, and while planning this, she can take into consideration learners' access. For example, if she is using videos, she would know whether or not learners have access to internet, they have access to broadband, which are the basic requirements for accessing large video files, and she can accordingly integrate videos into her program. Or whether she should have few videos and more audio programs and more of print-based content. Instructional designing helps teachers to take all these decisions. Naturally, when everything is planned, when things are going on systematically, quality of instructions can be ensured. There would be reference points for assessment, and assessment, when you have mechanisms for assessment, you would be heading towards quality. That is because assessment would tell whether or not the goals have been met, whether there is fitness of purpose. This helps in ensuring quality. And then I'll give you an example at this point. For example, if you have to explain the concept of instructional design, and after teaching content pertaining to this, if the learners are able to clarify the concept, I would say that the goal has been met. And this would indicate fitness of purpose and hence quality of instructions. Similarly, there could be other objectives like describe the models of instructional designing, discuss the concept of learning design. Following teaching, after teaching, if learners are in a position to carry out these activities, we would say that the quality of instruction has been there. There is quality of instructions. Therefore, when we carry out instructional designing, we not only specify the goals but also the learning outcomes. What would be the learning outcomes? This makes the entire process accessible, and this also helps in ensuring quality of instructions. Now, coming to the benefits for administrators, apart from planning technology, they can fix responsibility. There would be accountability. For example, in class 5, if it is found that 80% of the students can demonstrate the learning outcomes which is expected, we may say that instructional objectives have been fulfilled and there is quality of instructions. Otherwise, the administrators can fix responsibility. There would be accountability for non-performance. They can also plan the infrastructure like labs, sports facilities. If it is a curriculum that requires sports facilities, the administrators would be in a position to plan these facilities only if there is a proper instructional designing. They can carry out tendering, procuring the resources required, go for annual maintenance schemes. This is how it helps to assure quality. We can consider instructional designing as one of the tools for quality assurance. These are the benefits of instructional designing. We can just sum up that it helps teaching and learning process in general. It is beneficial for learners. It is beneficial for teachers. It is beneficial for administrators. Therefore, there are many benefits of carrying out the process of instructional designing. Thank you.